Stop. Hey guys. All right. Sorry there was no warning. I really wanted to get to a live. I haven't done one in a little bit. Hold on. I got to get my notebook out. I've had a lot going on. I haven't gotten to a video in a while. Mainly because I rescued a kitten that was abandoned by its mama. And I've been really busy making sure that that kitten is getting fed and all kind, and it's old enough to go potty on its own. I think it's a solid 4 weeks, going on 5. I'm going to try to get some dry kitty food this week and see if I can mix like some of the milk with it. So I ended up having to get some of the kitten milk, and it's been taking it, and it's been pooping and peeing on its own and everything, so that's a good thing. But that's why I've been really busy. I'm also really tired because I get up once during the night, and I end up, like tonight, I'm going to be feeding the kitten around probably, well, no. Um, they have been messing with us, these stupid cats. These guys irritate me. I always hear weird things, and I think it's the kitten. Anyway, yeah. I was gonna feed it around 8:30. I got up there. No, I got her up there around 5, so I could feed it around 9. But then I'll probably feed it again around 12 or 12:30, so I'm not getting up at 1. But then I'll have to get up at like 4 in the morning. That's why I'm really tired. And having to make sure I'm getting up, take care of the chickens, getting ready to go feed the kitten. Yeah, it's just. I mean, it won't be for too much longer. I know that because the kitten is getting older. Get off from her. No. No. She is not your mama. Now you stop. She needs that milk for her babies. Yes, we did end up with one other cat that got pregnant. We will be getting rid of them. Uh, all right, you know what? You're going back in the bedroom. Nope. No, get in there. Get in there. Come on, come on. Shh. Sure, really? They're the reason I was trying to get them away from you. Babysitter. Anyway, sorry. Meh. We will be getting rid of them. I did find out the place where we can take the males to get them fixed. Federal Area Humane Society in Lansing is only $50 per male to get them fixed. And if we get them the rabies, which they did, I don't remember if they required it. Because with Legolas, I think I only spent like $70. I think. So, anyway, I'm back and forth. I need the remote. All right. So, anyway, but that's what I've been doing. Um, I'm just gonna go straight to subscriptions. I have nothing written down. What was the last full spectrum I did? Whoa, that was a while ago. Okay. To get off from here. We're only going to go back.
We've got a problem, and I hope that maybe you.
We're going to go back
Super
3 days. This one, I'm going to write it down for my own reference.
This is exactly how it's going to happen. This is
6/22. Full spectrum. I haven't even been outside really to do much because I have been really tired, but I was out there picking strawberries tonight because I needed to pick those. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get myself up and out here because I just have to rise above it and just do what I got to do because stuff isn't getting done. It's already the 22nd. I still have a full, bigger garden bed I have to fill and plant. So somehow we end up always getting into July. So I'm going to end up planting probably July. I can probably plant some June stuff in there, July, June, August stuff. Let's install the take cover. Plus I have all the raised beds to fill and plant. I do have a phone interview Monday with the care home that I applied to. I'm going to be really praying that I get that job. I'm still going to be applying to other ones as well. Scott might have an interview with Aldi's Warehouse. Okay, so we're just going to let this one play.
Breaking news. We just saw a cataclysmic explosion take place.
I'll make sure everybody knows we're live. Again,
Russia,
sorry I sprung it on you.
People inside of the country.
I have some things to get done. I'm gonna make a salad for myself for dinner.
In much of this war, an average Russian citizen,
I have apple.
they can watch the conflict from a distance.
I got them kind of cooked
exactly
down. I
haven't
got them mashed down yet.
Inside of the United States,
and I'm gonna try to get that done tonight.
The fighting was over there, Ukraine. Destruction
on and off.
It was happening somewhere that felt like hours
on and off.
or days away from the population of the affected country.
But I have to be
the
done
air
by
raid sirens, the burning infrastructure, the uncertainty of daily life. Each one of those things belonged to someone else. But with the attacks that just happened in the past 36 hours, that sense of separation is catastrophically disappearing. The latest developments suggest that this conflict may now be entering into a far more dangerous phase than many people want to even imagine. Reports have now started coming out. They're emerging from Russia, describing what we have seen as one of the largest Ukrainian drone attacks against deep Russian Moscow territory and the surrounding region since the entire temporary military operation began. Citizens sent ducking for cover. People fleeing their homes as explosions rocked critical infrastructure sites with thick smoke spreading across parts of the capital. And residents finding themselves witnessing firsthand the scenes that many of them never expected to see. The images that are coming out of the city show large industrial fires, black smoke stretching across the skyline, and emergency crews that are scrambling to contain damage at facilities that were considered important to the functioning capability of the Russian capital. These things are happening right now to us in real time. One of the most significant targets appears to have been a massive Russian oil refinery, a fuel facility that plays an important role in supplying gasoline and diesel to Moscow, and not just there, but also to the surrounding area. When a refinery of this size is taken out, the impact that you see is far beyond the immediate damage. What they're also starting to see is what will happen inside of America. It is the lifeline of a modern city. And it's that type of preparation that you and your family must begin to prepare for. Look here as this citizen just watches idly as the entire city begins to burn. Oil powers transportation. It supports industry. And what it does is keep the daily life of the citizens inside of that country functioning. Now, the videos that are circulating online show one of the most dramatic scenes in this war that I have ever witnessed. Multiple explosions illuminating the night sky, towering columns of smoke rising over industrial areas. Witnesses that are there describe hearing blasts that are powerful enough to shake nearby buildings, and the footage is starting to look a lot less like an isolated military operation and a lot more of the scenes that you would typically associate with a major maritime or wartime bombardment. Now, what makes the past 48 hours even more significant is that this turn of events revealed that the state of Russia's defenses are less capable than they thought. For years, just as the United States prepares for drone attacks here on our homeland soil, Moscow invested heavily
Used for the bottom of a plastic water bottle, guys.
They promoted them as some of the most capable in the world. And yet, despite those defenses, drones are seen to have penetrated multiple layers of protection and successfully struck targets near the Russian capital and deep inside of its territory. Russian authorities have stated that large numbers of drones were intercepted, but it only takes a couple to change everyday life as you and your family know it. What we're seeing right now is the face of modern warfare changing at a remarkable pace. Relatively inexpensive drones are increasingly capable of reaching strategic targets that aren't just miles away, but hundreds of miles away. They are constantly launched in large numbers, and this forces defenders to spend enormous resources in an attempt just to stop the threat of something that costs only a fraction of the price to deploy.
Trying to make my salad for dinner.
Now, people on the ground are beginning to lose their minds. The psychological impact is ultimately proving even more apocalyptic than the physical damage itself. Military analysts are seeking answers to the destroyed equipment, to what happened with the destroyed infrastructure, and of course, they're looking at things like the casualty figures. But what is happening to the population is a major role that will shape the conflict from here on out. And that's what's going to happen in America. Residents will witness explosions, emergency responses. They'll see that the war that used to feel like it was happening to someone else, somewhere else far away, will suddenly feel much closer. People will start to see evidence of destruction and violence outside of their own car windows instead of viewing it from the luxury of their phone or even from their home television set. And it's that shift in perception that will immediately increase the pressure on American and, like Russian leadership, to respond aggressively. It will strengthen all of the hardline voices that say stronger measures must be taken to make future escalations easier to justify in the eyes of the public. And it's the attacks that we just saw. They're taking place at the same time that attention is once again being focused on some of Russia's most advanced strategic U.S. capable weapons programs. Now, one of these programs involves the Russian Skyfall missile. According to recent reports, American military researchers, they're believed to be studying the system to gain a clearer understanding of how it might operate and how it could one day hit America's shores, or at least the shores of one of our allies. The Skyfall missile system is worth watching because it is believed to utilize a nuclear-powered propulsion system. Now, unlike traditional cruise missiles, they're limited by the fuel that they can carry. A nuclear-powered design can remain airborne for vastly longer periods of time, and they can travel extraordinarily farther. For Russia, in a return to Soviet times, this is a revolutionary strategic capability. But for everyone else, it's a dangerous escalation in an ongoing arms race that introduces entirely new risks into an already unstable global environment. Now, whether every claim that surrounds the Skyfall missile proves accurate or not, it's almost beyond the point. What matters is that nations are continuing to invest heavily inside of technology that is designed to overcome existing known defensive measures, altering the balance of power. And as we see one side demonstrate the growing effectiveness of drone warfare, the other pursues advanced strategic systems capable of hitting around the world that are intended to maintain deterrence against potential adversaries. Now, both of these developments guarantee a violent future, one where military technology becomes increasingly sophisticated, difficult to defend against, and potentially even more destructive than you could ever imagine. Around the world right now, geopolitical tensions remain at World War levels. Relations between Russia and NATO are strained. The Middle East continues to experience instability, and China, today as we speak, is expanding its military capabilities and asserting itself even more aggressively on the global stage. In many ways, the international environment that we are looking at, well, it already resembles one of the most tense periods since the Cold War. And again, that backdrop, the images that are coming out of Moscow serve as a reminder that major conflicts like this are not becoming more contained. They're becoming more interconnected, and they're becoming more unpredictable. And as the broader trend becomes difficult to ignore, war and World War III is increasingly defined by technologies that blur traditional boundary. Drones are able to strike deep behind the front lines. Cyber attacks are able to disrupt infrastructure without firing a single shot. And AI systems are already influencing targeting decisions. Hypersonic weapons are developed by major powers, and strategic missile programs are advancing in devastation. And that's what makes this moment especially unsettling. These technologies and their advancements are unfolding while active wars are already underway. Nations aren't developing them during peace or strength through stability. They're doing it inside of environments that are shaped by war, by government distrust, and increasing competition between nuclear powers. And it's without a doubt that the oil-filled rain, the darkened skies that are hanging full of smoke over Moscow right now, they will eventually disappear. The damaged facilities, they're likely going to be repaired. But what happened from this week's attacks will not fade. You need to let what we just saw inside of Russia act as a reminder to you and your family. Capitals and states that you consider safe right now are becoming more vulnerable by the minute. Critical infrastructure is becoming increasingly exposed, and nations are at this moment in time preparing strategic weapon systems that are designed for conflicts which will prove themselves to be far more devastating, even more so than any of these images, anything that we have seen so far. What we're looking right now is at the beginning stages of a world war. Folks, you're watching Full Spectrum Survival on YouTube, and we brought this breaking news to you so that you and your family have an idea of what's going on. Make sure that you're subscribed and share this video offsite. Hype this video with the hype points below. And from my family to yours, please stay safe and keep watch.
All right.
It was already one of the craziest storm chases of my life.
Well,
I don't mean to have disappeared on you. There's no one on. I know I sprung this on you
from a
guys.
distance. EA supervision. Now, if
Okay.
the nation of Finland just
Breaking multiple threats. Collide, nuclear crisis, AI bioweapons, megaquakes, and economic collapse. Sounds about right. Breaking multiple threats collide. Nuclear crisis. AI bioweapons. Yeah, those things are. Megaquakes and economic collapse. Let's take one of those and see if. It's in there that I'm hearing. All right. I try to save these.
lifted their
You're right.
ban on nuclear weapons. This is huge
You're
news
right,
because
guys.
Russia
Hi,
is
baby.
preparing to take on NATO countries, according to all the leadership regions inside of that area. All the governments believe that we have just a few years left before Russia makes another move, becoming the Soviet Union that was once again. In turn, the Finnish parliament, they approved a bill that lifts the country's ban on nuclear weapons. This allows the importation, transportation, supply, and possession of nuclear weapons within Finnish territory. The government has emphasized that it has no plans to permanently host or station nuclear weapons inside of the country, but NATO has stated that they also have plans to deploy nuclear assets nearby. Israel's views on the now revealed memorandum between Iran, Israel, and the USA are being seen as a strategic defeat. Canadian Prepper just put out a video recently that I think our community probably aligns with very well. This is not an end to World War III. The United States of America made an attempt. We attempted to turn Iran into another Venezuela. A couple of nights of bombing, a few regime-changing altercations, and just like that, we would have access to all of the oil inside of Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. Things did not go as planned. We used up years' worth of defensive military equipment, years' worth of missiles, and now we're scrambling to build them back. What we needed was time. We are facing a fertilizer crisis, a food supply chain issue, and we're also looking at an economic Great Depression. Now, from Israel's viewpoint, the memorandum is a strategic defeat. Now, here is what Israel is actually afraid of, and this fear is very real. Clause 10 of the memorandum issues oil waivers the moment that the MOU was signed. That's before Iran makes any concrete changes. Israel has watched the Iranian economic
I'm gonna go
approach
check something
collapse
real quick,
during
you
the
guys.
entire conflict.
I know check
And now it
something real
gets
quick.
crude sales, access to international banking market, and eventually the frozen assets that were set under Clause 12. We're already looking at the rebuilding of a near nuclear power in real time. Now, Clause 8 of the MOU lets Iran dilute, not get rid of, its enriched uranium stockpile. They will be allowed under this memorandum to do this on their own soil under supposed IAEA supervision. Now, if you know what has happened in the last 30 years, you know that's never going to happen. And so what I believe might be happening right now, the United States of America is taking a step back, not a retreat, but a step back to lay out that sucker punch. I believe that the USA is going to quickly, as we just saw with the defense agreements that have been executively ordered by the President of the United States of America, we're going to rebuild our missile stockpiles overnight. And we're going to hit Iran where it hurts the most, whether one side or the other actually follows through with this MOU. Now, the country of Israel, they just assessed that Tehran will refuse to surrender any of their enriched uranium. And that text confirms it. Trump is declining to rule out so-called low-level enrichment, and this tells the entire world what the baseline actually is. And now we're starting to see the theater of warfare, economic conflict, and a global Great Depression all mixed together. Now, Clause 1 of the MOU ties a permanent end to fighting in Lebanon. This is something that Israel has fought to keep. Israel will and continue fighting what they see as their enemies of Hezbollah inside of that region. And Iran has tried to separate the United States of America and Israel. And if you know anything about American
I know you
history,
popped on.
it's who actually buys and pays for our politicians. Now, Israel reads the text as requiring no pullback before the final agreement, and that's a buying of time. We can't call it anything else. The Americans want an acceleration of the peace agreement. But as one Israeli senior told different media outlets, Iran just emerged a global power. And Israel went from a regional power to the world's punching bag. In such a situation, he warned, it will be very hard for the Prime Minister Netanyahu to oppose a withdrawal from Lebanon, and pressure to fight a terrorist group inside of the region will grow. Israel feels that the last couple of days, Trump has turned against them. Right now, they are worried that that change is going to be permanent, but sources that we are reading are not claiming that Trump is being unfair necessarily. They're saying that there's a trap that is being set up. Israelis read the rebuke as deliberate humiliation of the country of Israel. And we did just see a senior official close to Netanyahu tell Channel 12 that Jerusalem was stunned by the recent criticism from the U.S. president, and they called it a resounding slap in the face. Now, the people inside of that country do accept that they oversold the war and they got caught. They believe that Trump now sees Netanyahu as a possession of American military domination. One critic quoted inside of Israeli media warned that Netanyahu is turning the country into a client state, one that takes orders from America for its own national security. Israelis are saying that Netanyahu will not be able to come back from this, and they see Lebanon signaling as an abandonment issue of what they consider an existential threat. They see the country boxed in with few other options than to restart the war, either under a permanent status or through proxy elements. Now, across the world and near the U.S. state of Oregon, we just saw a massive underwater volcano that's expected to erupt sometime within the next couple of months. Axial Seamount is just 1 mile beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean. It's a several miles long volcanic event that will erupt the entire seafloor. In recent weeks, scientists have observed this volcano inflating its magma rises beneath it. They say that hundreds of earthquakes are taking place. This, according to them, is a signal that an eruption is imminent. And we could see a multi-feet, tens of feet high tsunami strike the American West Coast. Now, this is situated just 300 miles west of Oregon. It sits along the boundary between two tectonic plates that scientists say are pulling apart slowly. Researchers emphasize that the exact timing of this eruption is near impossible to predict. They say it could be tomorrow. That's according to the University of Washington, or it could be months from now. Now, what makes this seamount volcano even more remarkable is the ecosystem in which it thrives. There's hypothermal vents on the volcano that release mineral-rich hot water into the ocean, supporting communities of microbes, things like the local fish that feed on them. But they say the next eruption will be one for the history books. We're also seeing stress along the San Andreas and the San Jacinto Fault. Excuse me, this is in Southern California. They say this is reaching a critical tension point. A new study just outlined the implications of what we're going to see with this, and scientists are warning that the region is capable of a large through-going rupture, one that they warn will involve multiple fault systems. The Cajun Pass may act as a sort of earthquake gate, they warn. Now, this sometimes blocks large ruptures from crossing between the faults, but sometimes it allows pressure to build up. They did just run a computational simulation on this. And with this computational simulation, they say it's unlike anything the world could ever see. Now, in recent history, we have seen the American power grid stressed and coming under increasing strain. Electrical demands across our country are rising faster than the ability to supply them. One major factor, of course, AI data centers. These consume massive amounts of power, massive amounts of water every single day. At the same time, we see new call for electric vehicles, manufacturing, and other energy-intensive industries. This, they say, is pushing demand even higher. Some of the world's top AI companies just came together, and they said that
You guys wondering
AI
what I'm doing? I'm cutting
are
up the
making
pepper for my
bioweapons.
salad. I'm trying to get my
a
salad
rare
ready.
display
I'm
of
gonna
unity,
eat my
the
dinner
leaders of
salad.
OpenAI,
Always
Anthropic,
eating.
and DeepMind,
Sorry.
they got together with literally dozens of biotechnology and national security experts, and they just signed a letter to the U.S. government saying that there is a rapid escalation of AI-enabled bioweapons. These systems, they say, are gaining sophisticated capability, and they're threatening to erode the knowledge barriers that used to exist that would prevent bad actors at low state levels from being able to engineer these deadly pathogens. They say that a coalition must be made, and that government control systems, strict vetting, and tracking rules must be put on all commercial, private, and government AI systems. DNA synthesis. They're trying to use it in vaccines right now, but they're saying that bad actors could use it to kill. Folks, you're watching Full Spectrum Survival, where every day I scroll so that you and your family don't have to. Please make sure that you are subscribed here and share this video off-site. We're going to let you know what's happening around the world and what you can expect in the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks, and for months to come. Please hype this video if you see the option. For my family to yours, please stay safe. Keep watch.
The next food crisis won't start at the grocery store. By the time you actually see it there, it's already too late. It's happening right now.
All right. So
EA Super.
this one really grabbed my
We've got a
attention.
problem, and I hope that you've experienced it before and you can help us out with some ideas. We rely 100% on our chickens to give us the egg production that we use every day. We went from having way too many eggs to barely enough. And this is because we have some predators that are attacking the chickens. Now, we just moved this chicken coop. It used to have a spot where it was sandbagged all around, very tight and secure. But with that security,
we lost
you have
nearly
water issues.
everything.
So we had water that was getting everywhere, pooling up, and so we had to move that. Now you can see we tried to trap using this, what I expect to be too large of a trap, and the raccoon or whatever it is just comes over and takes it out. Set up a camera here last night, didn't catch the raccoon because it's a little bit too low, but it sure looks like it. I've got a little bit of droppings that you can see right here, some more droppings right here, and you can see the feathers all over these sandbags. We probably lost a total of 8 to 10 chickens.
Jeez.
That really sucks. So we've got another trap, new chickens that we're incubating and bringing along the way. We're also purchasing a different breed that we know works really well here. What do you guys experience with that? Mike said, let's just sit out here all night, wait for the little sucker to come and take him out. But we've got to wait and see. Can we get him with the trap? This one wasn't working. This is better for a dog because it has a little bit higher of a pressure plate as you can see there.
Yeah, this is kind
So
of
we've got
a
that other one
respite
coming that
from
we're
some of the
gonna set up.
stuff.
We also have to go get some pine dust, which we have over here. The pine dust is to put in the garden to try to stop some of our weed problems. We're doing no plastic covering because we don't want to do plastic covering if we don't have to. We still have our chickens over here on this side, and they're really saving us from not having any eggs at all. But we've got to get this under control, and I hope you guys will come with us. We've never tried this one before. The locals recommended it, and it's important to see what is working for the people around you. They recommended this kind. They said it was a little bit lighter of a trap, a little bit lighter of a trigger, heavier duty. We're going to set them both up. And I'm not screwing around anymore. We're using canned chicken. So we're putting a little bit of an investment into catching the pest here, but it has taken away 6-8 months worth of food
so
production.
many of the chickens. We had 2 left.
So let's put it together and see. We're using gloves because we think maybe our scent, the human scent on the other one, kept it from going all the way in it. We're hoping that maybe removing our scent. Now, if you could smoke it out, it's too wet and too humid today to get any real smoke, but smoking it out would help get rid of some of that scent.
Fingers like.
We've got a roadkill turtle, a farm death turtle that we are putting in one of our boxes. We're going to sun bleach it, and the sun is going to take away, the bugs will come in and they'll eat the turtle. We've got some ants up there, and then we're going to make some good use out of it. I think this is a native Alabama map turtle. We have them all over here. The difference between a turtle and a tortoise is land dwelling, and a turtle needs water. So these need water, but hey, I say we make use of whatever kind of roadkill or anything else we can find. Now, my brother is building a house nearby as we develop our full spectrum survival compound and mutual assistance groups out even further. We're going to now encompass even more family, more local friend group support. And the next step that we needed to take is getting local sourced wood for the inside walls of his home. So we took a trip over to our friend Jerry's house, who has a sawmill. He does a lot of wood cutting for his own farm and for local purchasers inside of the area. Jerry has wood that he has cut down for projects that he has been working on, and he has cants to put up on the mill right now. Cants are semi-processed logs that have been squared off on up to 4 of their sides. They're all dried up and they're ready to go, and we're really lucky with this. Jerry has such a beautiful piece here. He calls it his own personal paradise. A beautiful lake that he dug out himself and stocked with fish. This includes some of the local area's best bass that I've ever seen evidence of. He has fruit trees, including apples, pears, and maybe peaches. There are nut-bearing trees on site and some of the biggest blackberry patches that I have ever seen. Now, his home is on one of the regional creeks that has an enormous amount of local history attached to it. And he built some of his first cabins on the site from the wood that he took down to make a larger garden area that is presented to organizations for conservatorship across our entire state. And then after we finished touring his property, it was time to set up for Jerry to come back to our place. He used his excavator to dig down past the hard packed at our virgin ground. And what we're doing is building the largest family compound garden that we have been able to have in years. Bright and early in the morning, Jerry made it back out to our place to start digging. Now, when it's all said and done, we're going to have around 4 acres of cover crop enriched, clay rich soil. It's going to be great for everything from tubers like potatoes, corn, tomatoes, herbs, and pretty much everything in between. And then after that was done, it was time to go and get Mike's house ready to put the cement stain and the cement sealer back on the floor. Whatever is on the floor is going to be in your sealed final cover. So we spent a lot of time vacuuming and sweeping up all the small bugs and all the insulation that had fallen down off of the roof onto the concrete. We put up plastic on all sides of the walls because we have already had the entire house spray foamed. And really the last thing that we want to happen is for the acid stain or even the cement sealer to eat through the foam that we spent so much time getting just right inside of the walls. And then mopping and moving was next, and this small, inexpensive device really saved the day. You're definitely going to want to have one of these if you keep any sort of farm animals and you want to keep them safe and really keep you safe during something like a biological outbreak, maybe something like avian influenza. We had to take a break and go pick up the baby chickens that we needed. These are the ones that are replacing the ones that the raccoons stole from us. Remember, it's a 6-month time and feed investment into a baby chick just to get your first egg. So if you do need something quick, you're going to want to get quail, which start to lay their first eggs within about the first 6 weeks of their life. After we got the baby chicks settled in, it was time to meet Gary back over at Mike's place. We're now getting the water line from his well to his house dug in. If we didn't have these types of connections, it would be days and days of hand digging through dense, rocky, mountainous areas, and that would be us digging the trench from the well site up to Mike's house. It's definitely doable, but we're sure glad to be able to take advantage of the opportunities while they're here. After all of that work, our next project took us right back to the compound garden. The ground is complete, and it's time to throw buckwheat seeds onto the soil for a crop cover. Now, Mike did a lot of the research here, both on what we should use and our soil and what would deliver the best nutrients back into the soil. And what we have here is really high in clay. So buckwheat was high up on the list. And this was considering that it's a cover crop that gives back to the soil. And of course, we can eat it. If you can imagine the flavor of buckwheat, it's somewhere between brown rice, maybe a bowl of oats and sunflower seeds. But it does have a heartier, more rustic character than any of those put together. And then how you cook it is you get the groat. Now the groat is the whole edible seed of the buckwheat plant after the tough outer hull has been removed. You're just going to put it in some broth or some water. You can add your flavorings to it and you eat it kind of how you would eat oats or couscous. It is very high in magnesium, copper, and protein, and we thought that it was probably our best choice to plant for the future of our compound, and really for the time being, just in case something happens in the food supply chain, and that made it so that we would have to eat this food on its first grow. We planted some sweet corn in there too, and that was really just to see how it's going to grow in this untouched soil. We mixed a little freehand throwing of the corn seeds, and we built some rows together with the hoe on the back of the tractor and pulled the dirt over after we put the corn seeds inside. We're going to make sure to show you everything as it comes up. See if you really can hand throw some of this seed out there. And then after countless resupplies of the hand-cranked seed spreader, with Mike throwing his mix out by hand in a 5-gallon bucket, we sat back, we took a look at everything that we have done, and we called it good. Now.
Yes, is your vehicle disabled? Vehicle disabled. Okay, jump in the back seat. I have very little room. In it now. That's the RC. RC's deadly. RC's deadly. Good patience. Oh, Alex safe. Alex shoulder and his friend safe. It's Friday, the 20th of June, 2025. Headed to Jamestown in North Dakota for what I believe will be a significant photo
I
day.
didn't put up a live the tornado videos. All right. That one was just a little bit different.
1% of
we're just gonna do this one.
1% of
today.
America's food supply chain was just wiped out.
I'm gonna go ahead and write these down. Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't really been talking too much. Like I said, I'm putting my salad together for dinner. Blacked out. Yeah, I still have a lot to do outside, and I'm just gonna have to get myself out there tomorrow and just start getting it done. Me, Aaron, and Scott are going to go to Big Boy for breakfast one more time before they close, because unfortunately they're closing June 25th, which really sucks because that means Chloe and Zach won't be able to go. But yeah, I'm just got to get myself out there tomorrow.
Out of control fire,
I will
potentially
be
a food supply chain attack at a cold storage warehouse in Los Angeles, California. It has been quickly burning for days, prompting authorities in that area to a declaration of emergency. And what they have done is said that something bigger is probably happening here. They say that the containment of the blaze is inaccessible at this time. The facility holds 89 million pounds of America's frozen food supply. Now, officials say that the combination of toxic smoke, structural hazards, and the enormous volume of food that is stored inside here in what began as just an unknown warehouse fire has now turned into a complex public health and environmental emergency. Now, you might say it's just 90 million pounds of food. And that's only 1 to 3% of the nation's overall frozen food supply. And technically, you would be correct. One warehouse fire does not determine the fate of the United States of America. But it only takes a couple more hits in the magnitude that we are seeing to make it so that you and your family do not get the food that you need at the grocery store anymore. The food that keeps America from rioting does not magically appear on the shelves of our stores. It moves through a complex chain of supply that involves farms, processing warehouses, truck drivers, the fuel supply chain, computer systems, a distribution center, and finally, the retailer. Now, we have seen storage and transportation as two of the most frequently attacked and probably the most vulnerable positions or links in the supply chain because they literally connect every single other component. Imagine for a moment a statewide shutdown of food transportation caused by a series of events just like this. In the first 24 hours, most people will not notice anything. Grocery stores will still appear to be stocked. Your restaurants will operate and life will look like normal. But behind the scenes, it's the just-in-time delivery system. The resupply cycle will have already broken down. By hours 48 to 72, certain products will likely disappear first. You're going to see fresh bread, milk, produce, and meat begin thinning out as normal deliveries fail to arrive. And then once local residents become aware of the disruption, their buying behavior changes rapidly. We've already seen that panic in the last couple of years. That panic buying can empty shelves far faster than normal consumption patterns would suggest.
This is where
Faster
we
than they
do
can
need to
resupply
start prepping and preparing.
The problem is that
Because
the
of over
food
the
didn't
next few
vanish from the
months.
country, but that the distribution system cannot move these goods quickly enough to where they are needed around our country. And so by the end of the first week after a coordinated attack, communities will likely start facing their own visible shortages. The shelves won't necessarily be completely shut out and empty, but you'll start missing categories. You'll see limited choices, you'll see rationing policies, and you'll definitely see longer lines at the grocery store. These will be associated with disruption of the delivery system that will get rid of weeks worth of inventory before replenishment becomes critical. What we would see is not an immediate starvation of our population, but it's simply something that is potentially even more devastating or destabilizing in the short term. And that's uncertainty. Your fellow American brothers and sisters, they can tolerate hardship surprisingly well when they understand what is happening and when they understand when normality will return. But what creates instability is confusion.
Problem is, I don't think
The
it
moment
ever
that
will.
families start to wonder whether they will be able to buy food next week, the family buying pattern behavior changes. And then you see
Yep.
people starting to purchase even more than they need. You have friends calling friends saying, let's get up and meet at the grocery store. You have social media video amplifying
Sorry,
rumors that
guys.
are happening.
Sitting down.
You see videos of empty shelves spreading across the internet. Every photograph of a half-stocked grocery store will become proof that the situation is far worse than officials will claim. Demand will spike at precisely the moment that the supply chain begins to be constrained. And then as these shortages worsen, law enforcement will have a difficult decision. They will find themselves dealing with problems that they rarely encounter during normal operation. Now, their initial role will be to focus on movement control, crowd management, protection of distribution centers, and of course, security as it revolves around the retail location. The first incidents will probably not resemble Hollywood-style riots. It will more likely look like fights in parking lots, from grocery stores, disputes over the ration goods, or looting of vulnerable businesses, and of course, an increased call for law enforcement service. And then as the shortages continue, authorities will need to provide security only to food distribution points. They'll escort the supply convoys that are moving across the country, and they will coordinate with emergency management agencies like FEMA. But the even scarier part of all of this is the fires and destruction that we will begin to see from a geopolitical dimension.
Mhm.
America's adversaries are studying our vulnerabilities. They're watching right
I'm
now
having
how
my-
society reacts under stress.
Analyzing
Analyzing our
I will never
dependency
use
on
elbow
critical
macaroni again
infrastructure.
because that stuff is so
An enemy
starchy,
country
it
that
just
seeks
smushes up too
strategic
easily.
advantage never needs to send a tank across American soil.
My salad,
They don't even need their
which
drones to
has
cross our
the wild
borders.
spinach, which is the lamb's
What they will
quarter,
do
it
is
has some
exploit
lemon in it,
confusion through information
and some
operations.
purslane.
Foreign actors will begin
then
flooding
romaine
social
red
media, and
bottle.
rumors that shortages are worse than they're reported will make the
And then
situation even
strawberries
worse.
from the
Videos
strawberry
showing
So-
riots, coordinated campaigns that are designed to convince everyday citizens that the government institution
I am having coffee
lost
that I made.
all of its control.
And I'm gonna put Redmond's real salt.
Now, the United States of America, we do possess vast
Macaroni
agricultural
salad.
capacity. We possess transportation infrastructure, and we have experienced law enforcement and management, emergency management organizations. But where we are lacking is our ability to restore distribution,
Show you guys a
to
strawberry. one
maintain
of the
public
strawberries that came
confidence,
out of the
and
garden.
to prevent
or out of
panic
our
from
strawberry
becoming
patch.
even more dangerous than the actual
Pretty awesome,
disruption
huh?
itself. When the
It's
smoke and
decent
ash
strawberry.
settles,
You're
we
gonna
will
keep
be
the
left
chickens on
with
it.
little. Now, in my opinion, an eventual collapse is inevitable. And out-of-state complexities create dependency. And the more interconnected our systems became, the more important it was to understand just where these bottlenecks actually exist. So the 1% attack that we are seeing right now on America's food supply chain, it might not break the country today, but it does put a lot more stress on an already strained system. And I think a lot of people are looking at this fire and the other ones across the country at the oil refineries and the gas depots, and they're seeing nothing more than just a local disaster. Smoke, fire, damaged property, and unfortunate loss. But what
That's
they're
what
not
the
seeing,
inside of a strawberry should
what
look
this
like.
represents,
Not
when you
red
look
around
through
the
the
edge
eyes
and
of
white on the
national
inside. This is a real
resilience.
strawberry.
Americans have never witnessed the fragile
Amazing.
machinery that operates behind the scenes that keep grocery
Absolutely
stores
amazing.
stocked and shelved. They see freezer aisles that are full of more food than they can buy. Fresh produce, people behind the meat counter, overflowing shelves. What they don't see are the warehouses that are on fire, the distribution centers that are being cyber attacked,
Yep.
the trucking fleets that are suffering a fuel shortage, the connecting railways, the refrigeration systems, the power grid, the computer systems, and all of the fuel that makes modern abundance possible.
Yep.
Now, food doesn't just magically appear at our grocery store. Instead, it travels through
Best
a
if you
highly
grow everything.
interconnected chain that depends 100% on thousands of moving parts that work together every hour of every single day. And that's why I see this 1% attack on our food supply chain as something possibly much larger than a lot of people are willing to admit. And I'm going to keep watching it for you guys here. While we gather today's survival tip, we're going to take a quick moment and hear from Chapter. This episode of Full Spectrum Survival is brought to us by you, the viewer, and by Chapter. One of the largest mistakes that families make is waiting too long to handle important things. Preparedness is not just about what is happening in the world right now. It's also about making sure that your family and the people that you care about are covered in the future. For many Americans, our group members included,
You're on that.
Medicare planning is one of the largest and most stressful parts of that process. Chapter compares plans nationwide. They help simplify the system so that you and your family can make informed decisions without confusion. If you're already on the best plan, they're going to tell you. There's no pressure. It's completely free. Most calls take under 20 minutes, and you can call them at 610-900-4081 or use the link below. Experienced survivalists know how important Mylar bags are. They should really be a foundation of your preparedness plan. They do have vulnerabilities, though. But there's one principle here. Food security is not how much food you have. It's whether you'll be able to eat the food, stored food, when you need it. Now, I've seen plenty of people spend thousands of dollars building their food reserves, and then they have a significant portion of it that rusts through the cans because they were kept in humid conditions or allowed salty air to get to it. And what changes them from a survivor is proper storage. So when you package your dry foods like your rice, your beans, oats, wheat berries, whatever it is, low moisture is your survival. Mylar bags with appropriately sized oxygen absorbers are going to create a barrier that a lot of people are missing. Oxygen absorbers remove not all, but most of the remaining oxygen inside of the sealed bag. And this dramatically slows the process of oxidation.
Mhm.
And then that in turn reduces the conditions that allow insects and larvae to hatch out of the eggs that are already in your food. The Mylar itself is a light blocking tool, and it provides a much stronger protective barrier than plastic storage totes, which I do see a lot of people use. And what this does is it allows you to store your food for decades, but only when you store it correctly.
Right.
Folks, you're watching Full Spectrum Survival, where every day I scroll so that you don't have to. Please be aware of this 1% attack. Be aware of what is happening and be ready for the future.
All right.
Share this video and hype it. Make sure you check back at 2 p.m. this afternoon for another broadcast. From my family to yours, please stay safe and keep watch.
Okay. So this is the one that was 2 o'clock today.
There is a fight happening right now that America cannot afford.
Red alert attack in Chicago. So it's getting a little bit closer, which I don't really like. USA humiliated. Excuse me. No nuclear deal. JD Vance doesn't know what to do. Turn to God. Okay.
To lose.
I aimed that at my computer.
The country of Iran just hardened their stance on the U.S. negotiating process, and they have declared that the Iranian delegation will not return to the negotiating table until the President of the United States of America personally apologizes for recent threats against the Iranian government. Iran is now explicitly demanding the full Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. And according to the Iranian president, a quote says, "What is certain is that we will never give up our right to enrich uranium." And the other side, speaking of America, will have no choice but to accept this. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at some of the events that are happening out there today.
Israel's security doctrine. We initiate, we attack, we surprise, and we attack those enemies that seek our destruction, that seek to kill us. We attack them before they have a chance to do so. If you know Hebrew, hakam lo gecha, hashkem lo go. Kill them first.
This is a pretty big change of posture by the Israeli government, in which they're moving not towards reactive attacks, but they are moving into a headfirst focused attack against every country that they see as against the nation.
To Saudi Arabia, now's the time to open negotiations yet again
Yeah.
for you to expand the Abraham Accords, for you to join. I think this is going to happen in 2026, and it can't happen until Iran's in a box. If we get a deal, Iran will be in a box. If we don't get a deal, Iran will be in a box. To Lebanon, to the people in Lebanon, help is on the way. Hezbollah has been terrorizing your country for a long time. That's about to end.
And I must, at this point in time, with the fullest sincerity at my domain, thank President Donald Trump for his visionary and very dynamic leadership, which has resulted in this meeting here today in beautiful city of Wilgenstock. And I think here we are going to have wonderful discussions, which will.
Now, that's obviously a PR push. I want you to watch the actual shade that took place behind the scenes. Look here as watch the United States of America's vice president reportedly humiliated. Now, this is Qatar, completely bypassing the vice president of the United States of America, moving on to stand beside Pakistan when asked to come close and give a handshake, completely ignored. I've never seen anything like this before. And here we have our Archie, J.D. Vance, Kushner. Look at what's happening. Obviously, you can tell like a cafeteria inside of a high school. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with this.
Let's try a diplomatic solution. I think it's going to fail. What happens next? I spent 4.5 hours with President Trump Friday. Here's what I think will happen next. If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz. We'll charge a fee for all of those who go through to pay for the operation. And we're going to expand the Abraham Accords in calendar year 2026. We're going to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, and which is the biggest change in 5,000 years in the Mideast. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz.
What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet.
J.D. Vance is discussing the Israeli prime minister in Israel,
Who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the president of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world.
Now, what we're seeing is that Israel was promised real change with this, that the Middle East would look not like it has for the last, 47 years, and we would start to see actual change within the country, and what they got instead was something very different from that. J.D. Vance obviously looks stressed there. You have the Iranian president meeting with Pakistan here, and look at Vance as he determines what to do. I, for one, believe that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes of this entire negotiation than they will ever let the American people know about.
For years, people told us You cannot attack the soil of Iran. Yes, you can do Mossad operations, and we did quite a few. I authorized many, but you cannot send our military to Iran. But we changed that. We sent our brave pilots over the skies of Iran, and they took out targets, regime targets, terror targets. We decapitated the leadership of the terror regime. We shattered their missile industry. We knocked out their Navy. We knocked out their Air Force. We attacked their military industries. We attacked their bridges. We attacked so many targets that the cumulative damage that we did to the IRGC economy is not counted in the millions. It's not counted in the hundreds of millions. It's not counted in the billions. It's counted in hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And it will.
No.
So what Netanyahu is saying is that the damage that was done to the Iranians is being counted in hundreds of billions of dollars. And isn't it just a strange coincidence that we are offering to give them $300 billion just to keep a waterway open? Now, we're either being lied to by the government or we're not. And it's as simple as that. Either we do not need oil to flow through the Strait of Hormuz for the operations of the world's greatest superpower, the USA, a nuclear-backed military that is capable of taking over any country in the world, or we absolutely need that waterway to stay open. Now, Donald Trump just spoke on NATO allies, and he said that when we needed you, you did nothing. You didn't have our back. You said that it was wrong in what we are doing. When we tried to stop a country, this is from Donald Trump's opinion, when we, America, tried to stop a country from being able to control a waterway that supplies you with your oil, you held back. And that, according to Trump, was one of the gravest mistakes that these nations could have ever made. And I think that we're going to see the fallout for that sometime.
Against us. We established a security zone in Gaza. We established a security zone in Syria. We established a security zone in Lebanon, and we shall keep it as long as it's necessary to protect our people. Against
This was supposed to be a joyous time. Neighbors say many people had gathered to celebrate you. Earth.
Surveillance video capturing what appears to be a barrage of gunfire. Shortly after, you see people running for cover. Chicago police were called to 95th and Princeton after a mass shooting around 11 Friday night in the city's Princeton Park neighborhood.
Folks, America is not a safe country. It's up to you and your family to understand the realities that we face every day and have security preparations in mind. Whether it's surveillance cameras outside of your house, self-defense tools, and situational awareness, you need to be understanding the direction that we are going, not just where we are at today, but things are about to get worse. And in that mindset, you prepare. There's never any fear or afraid about what's going to happen. You just understand it and you get ready. Make sure you're getting ready today.
Yep.
Please also make sure that you're subscribed here, Full Spectrum Survival on YouTube. Share this video offsite and hype this video, and check back tomorrow morning. We put out 2 broadcasts every day. Thank you for being part of our family here. From mine to yours, please stay safe and keep watch.
This past week, I've been working really hard, perfecting all of my sauce recipes. I want to share those with you guys, but I really want to get them right first. And
One
as
of
you
these
all know,
days,
I'm
I'll
not
do a
much of a
video
recipe girl, so I have to really
covering
get
some of
those
their
nailed down
videos,
before
'cause
I
these
can
guys
get
are
to you
really
guys.
awesome.
So
Okay. So we're gonna go down to Riverside. What was the last one I did from them? I think it was that one.
This might be the last year that average families can comfortably afford beef. I know that might sound a little extreme. Until you see what's happening inside the cattle industry right now, availability and prices about to go through the roof. Resources falling off a cliff and prices going sky high. What you should know about beef so that you can be prepared, coming right up.
The highest priced supermarket steak I have ever seen in my life. I was just at my local Costco. I see 4 steaks in a package. I actually see like a bunch of people standing around the steaks. We're looking at the prices.
Beef prices warning. Think I'm gonna start trying to go to Marendorf and getting meat. $60% to 100% higher prices by the end of this year. Guys, what more proof do you need that it's time to get the homestead going? Like, this is proof right here.
I cannot believe this. For 4 steaks, $142.56. I could not believe my eyes. I just looked up at everyone. Everyone's just looking at each other, and everyone just like walks away. This is the most expensive steak, supermarket steak I've ever seen in my life. 4 of them, $142.
Some analysts are warning beef prices could continue climbing through 2026. One of the reasons I'm making this is because I'm hearing 60% beef inflation possibly on the lower side. Forecasts calling for massive increases. We've got brand new headlines, again, huge companies, plant closures, layoffs. We already know about the drought and the disease concerns. All kinds of news of fewer cattle imports, and all of the ranchers are under serious pressure. The question is, if some of you are already feeling this, are we headed towards a future where beef is a luxury item? By the way, later in this video, I'll show you exactly what I'm personally doing to secure premium beef for my family and why I no longer rely on the grocery store for most of my beef purchases, and how you can save even more towards the end of this video. So there's 5 things that you guys should know that is shaping exactly what's happening right now. Number 1, industry trouble. Just in off of layoff hedge, we've seen tons of layoffs. JBS Foods, a giant, 1,485 union jobs gone by August 14th. JBS is closing its Sutterton, PA beef plant, one of the largest in the Northeast. The company calls it modernization. The real squeeze, US cattle herd sits at a 75-year low. JBS says the shortage lasts through 2026, and Tyson is shutting down beef capacity also. If I remember correctly, 85% of our beef comes from these huge companies. Tyson Foods of Lexington beef processing plant, permanent close around January 20th of 2026. Capacity down 5,000 head a day. Impact was 3,200 people lost their jobs. And this was one of the largest plants. Part of the border beef division losses, $291 million the prior year. There again, Tyson Foods in Amarillo, Texas, over 1,700 layoffs. Tyson Foods in Rome, GA, another facility closure, loss of jobs. Cargill in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, permanent closure, production winding down. Intermountain Packing, beef and bison processing. Idaho Falls, tons of layoffs. You got multiple companies reducing the workforce, and processing capacity is disappearing nationwide. When you've got the biggest names out there reducing, closing facilities, laying tons of people off, that is not a sign of expansion. That's a sign of contraction. Number 2, huge supply problem. Now, the U.S. cattle herd remains historically tight, and I mean low. You've seen stuff like this.
The United States has the lowest cattle numbers in 73 years, and almost nobody is talking about it. Right now, the U.S. cattle herd is at its smallest size since 1951. Let that sink in. We haven't had this few cattle since before most of your parents were born. In the 1970s, we had over 130 million head of cattle in this country. Today, we're under 87 million and dropping. That's a 30% decline in 50 years. So what's happening?
Not only that, drought conditions continue impacting ranchers. The feed costs remain elevated and continue to climb. ranchers forced to reduce herd sizes. It's happening all over, meaning fewer calves are entering the system. And it takes these ranchers years to rebuild those cattle numbers. You just can't flip a switch and have more cattle. Rebuilding takes years. And another warning, big news, big media, I wouldn't buy what they're trying to tell you. They're going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. And a lot of times doesn't have a bit of truth to it. Remember this?
Then on top of that, we've got the screwworm south of the border. So our ports have been closed almost since the late spring, where we haven't been moving about 1 million head of cattle across the border of Mexico, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona from Mexico. And again, you're in this perfect storm that we're in. But the Trump administration has released a new plan. We are moving toward opening up 5 million acres of grazing land. We're obviously at some point soon going to be reopening the borders. We've got screwworm under control south of the border. Still a couple more things before we get there, but we're getting close. And the president is hyper focused on this. So our numbers and our formulas are showing that prices will start coming down as soon as next spring, and certainly by summer and fall of next year.
November 25th. They tell you what you want to hear, not really what's going to happen, not anything realistic. Here we are blowing past the spring of 2026, going into the summer, and now we're getting all the warning signs that beef prices will continue to climb, which takes me to number 3, the screwworm threat. Really got it under control, huh? This is just out a couple days ago. Screwworm thing under control, right? Yeah, I don't think so. This is out from CNN World not even 3 days ago. Flesh-eating screwworm has reached the U.S., a comeback driven by organized crime. They're calling it a new world screwworm, and the ecologists are not surprised, they say. Lower in the article says every cow that is being moved illegally has the potential to carry a screwworm and other diseases. And what's even worse from this ecologist says, something that's really frightening as well is that you have an avian flu transmitted by cattle and tuberculosis. Now, this happened back in the 1970s, cost hundreds of millions of dollars of issues, lots of loss of cattle, which has impacted huge border restrictions, millions of head not coming across. And now there's a Mexico cattle movement concern, definitely reducing cattle imports and already seeing the potential loss of hundreds of thousands to over 1 million head entering the U.S. supply chains. And what happens when the numbers drop, but the demand stays high? You know what happens to the price? Goes way up. And that's just part of the deal. The fourth impact thing you should know, weather and the fire impact. We've already started this year off with drought concerns in many of the areas, which is affecting the cattle, wildfires impacting grazing lands. It's all over the media. We've got fires in Texas. We've got fires in Arizona, meaning hundreds of thousands of acres are being affected. And these farmers and ranchers are facing increasing pressure every single day as we walk further into 2026. And the crazy thing is any one of these things would have its own huge effect, its own huge concern. But now you've got all of them together, and it's really creating the perfect storm on this thing. Number 5, what does this mean for you and me? Well, we already know the beef prices are remaining elevated, and the concern that they will continue to climb throughout the year. When you go to the store, you might have to cross out hamburger on your shopping list. You might have to cross out steaks because they might not be available, or they might be a lot higher priced. You're going to see a lot of families reducing beef consumption. And those premium cuts that we love, they're not even going to be affordable. Now, I'm not saying beef is going to be disappearing, but what I am saying is it's going to become probably very unattainable, meaning affordability is going to become a huge issue. The question is whether average families can still comfortably afford it, which brings me to what I am personally doing. One thing you can do is when you come across a good sale, maybe stuff's about out of date, preserve it in whatever way you can. You guys have seen me use the freeze dryer in the past. If you guys are able to pick up a freeze dryer, I've got a link down there for one of those. We literally bought lots of beef on sale. We freeze dried it, preserved it for 25 years. Some of it's cooked the way we like it, some of it's raw. And that goes hand in hand with all foods. When you find it on a sale, when you get a good deal, when you harvest your fruit tree or your garden, you can preserve that stuff instead of not getting to it all and it going bad. Now, when it comes to beef and a lot of other things, I've stopped relying on the grocery store. I personally order Black Label Riverbend Ranch beef comes frozen as a rock right to my doorstep. Why is it better than the rest? No added hormones, guaranteed. No antibiotics, ever, guaranteed. I'm supporting a family-owned company, and I'm telling you, it's nothing but premium quality from ranches and ranchers right in the USA. I'd personally rather support a family-owned American company rather than rolling the dice once a week at the local grocery store or big food chain. So if you guys want to see what I order, check it out. I've got a link down in the description and the pinned comment. When you click on the link, you're going to go right to my page. You're going to see me there. I'll do a short intro for you, and somebody from our community will reach out to you and get you all the information you need. If you want a crazy savings on that beef, switch where you buy your toothpaste and your cleaners. So Wellness brand is non-toxic, American made, and also supporting the family-owned business. You can be a member, get savings and perks, or you can shop as a non-member. It's up to you. The big question to you is, do you guys think that the beef prices are going to continue to go up in 2026? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And do you think we're headed down a road where we're going to see only wealthy families able to buy beef products on a regular basis because they might be the only people that can really afford it? Let me know in the comments. I got a lot more important stuff coming down the pipe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Please share this out so people are aware and they too can be informed and prepared. Keep prepping, keep learning, keep doing. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right.
This might be the last year. Yep. All right, guys, I'm finding proof that this stuff is all starting to happen.
It's a serious situation, so I'll start by reiterating what you both said. This is not a drill. Please, if you're in the map area, do not use water. This is a very serious situation. It's also a health situation.
Do not use the water.
Hi there. Yeah, that shelter in place order back in effect right now. And we know they've had air quality experts out here all day monitoring those levels since parts of that warehouse was still smoldering. Now, we just received an update, an advisory from LA Fire. Take a look at this map. There's some areas here now impacted. They'll soon be undertaking
air quality, shelter in place.
Intense rainfall pounded the Houston area today. Flash floods made driving dangerous.
This is a really tropical air mass that can produce a lot of heavy rain in a short period of time.
Overnight, this video shows first responders rescuing people trapped in floodwaters in McLennan County. In Waco, Texas, more than 6 inches of rain turned highways into rivers.
Headlines reading, summer is days away, but 54 million people face 108-degree heat, hail, and midnight tornadoes.
So just got home. Now I'm having to leave my car at the very end of the driveway and pray that water doesn't get into it because I don't want to leave it on the side of the highway for it to get hit. So now I got to take shoes off and roll pants up and make it up towards the house.
That's not all. We've got fires, crazy fires happening. Warnings nearly every day of wildfires spreading rapidly. Explosive wildfire risks. Warning. More and more flooding. Super El Nino now shows 100% probability on a European model. Forecasters warn it could surpass the 1877 record and shatter every temperature mark. I did a video yesterday explaining what happened in 1877. If you guys missed that video, you might want to catch up. After digging into this all day yesterday and seeing all of the crazy weather happening right now, after 150 years, it's happening again. And wait till I show you guys what this could really turn into if this crazy weather keeps up. Important information coming right up that might keep you ahead of the rest. Welcome back. I'm digging into this weather stuff and I'm finding out that the signs are out there. Crazy things are happening all over the United States. So the NOAA has already warned and declared that a very hefty El Nino is in place and happening. And if you guys search, you're going to find headlines like this: warning issued that even worse is coming after Godzilla El Nino that could strike as early as September. And I'm going to show you guys some video footage. Things are already happening. The European Center of Medium Range Weather Forecast issued as May long range forecast showing 100% chance of Super El Nino forming by November. Telling you, if you guys didn't watch this video that I put out yesterday, you're going to find out what happened in 1877. 1977. Check it out. These came out just in the past couple days. El Nino favored to become one of the strongest ever. Here's how it's going to impact the weather, raising fears of new global heat records. Super El Nino is officially here. It could get dire very quickly. UN issues warning on impending Super El Nino. Scientists fear it'll be big, bad, and costly with heat, floods, droughts, and fires. Now, hang tight. I've got some projections I'll show you here in a minute. So you guys can know if you guys are in the bad zone, which there's a lot of bad zone. Now, like I said, this happened in 1877 and it was bad. It affected like 50 million people in regards of not making it. And they're saying that this is coming on hot and heavier. And this is just the beginning of it. Tell me if I'm crazy, but there is wild flooding, wildfires spreading rapidly everywhere, heat records in areas that have been shattered days in a row, bipolar weather, right? One day it's hot, next day it's cold. People experiencing floods that have never experienced floods. And as I continue to research, these are all preliminary signs of an El Nino or a pre-super El Nino. Now, I want to show you a couple projections in regards to extreme drought, crop failure, extreme flooding risks, wildfire risks, hurricane and storm risks. But first, let me show you. We've got extreme heat all across the West right now, and that's not all. Explosive wildfire risks coming out daily. High winds, drought-like scenarios in some areas, and these fires are moving fast. And then you've got stuff like this. Now, this is Lahaina, close to my heart. Weird stuff that is not normal. Check out, this is CBS News.
Intense rainfall found in the Houston area today. Flash floods make driving dangerous.
This was a really tropical air mass that can produce a lot of heavy rain in a short period of time.
Tonight, this video shows first responders rescuing people trapped in floodwaters in McLennan County. In Waco, Texas, more than 6 inches of rain turned highways into rivers.
There's a car just floating down the median. I hope nobody is in it.
Only the wall separating lanes of traffic on Interstate 35 was holding the water back. Flooded lanes, cars floated away, and multiple vehicles were left stranded in the middle of the highway.
And there's EMS.
Many drivers abandoned their cars while first responders rescued others as the water kept rising. Storms have triggered dangerous flash flooding across the state and along the Gulf Coast. There have been more than 70 flash flood reports in the past 24 hours. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is calling up more resources as life-threatening floods are putting several communities at risk as more heavy rains are expected in the coming days.
Please do not drive in the high water. Be especially careful at night when you can't really tell how deep the water is or how fast it's flowing. We don't want anybody to lose their lives.
Yeah, this is where two bayous come together in Houston, carrying all this flood water. The tops of the lampposts that you see back here, those posts are probably a good 10 feet high. And all this weather today also forced World Cup organizers to cancel the Fan Fest that they had planned here in Houston today. Tony?
All right, Jason, thank you very much. For more on the flooding threat, tens of millions across the country.
I could go on for hours showing all of the anomalies, all of the crazy weather, from floods to droughts, wildfires to crazy winds. But I know if you guys are watching mainstream news, you're not going to hear about this. You're going to know about probably what, the latest celebrity had for lunch. What I did is I plugged in all of the data into what happened in 1877, the NOAA's warnings on what's happening and all of the reports, and tried to get some hypothetical projections of like the danger zones and what could happen. Because while drought, crop failure, heavy rains, and drought are all contradictory, it's all about timing and location. And El Ninos and Super El Ninos are erratic. One region might go through prolonged dryness and heat, raising wildfire risks, and at another point, the atmospheric might shift, bringing intense storms or flooding. So it's not all happening at once in one specific spot. So these scenarios show how conditions could shift over time or vary by region. This first one has to do with extreme drought and crop failure, with the current projections coming in from the Pacific. Yellow showing moderate risk, dry conditions, likely some crop stress, orange high risk, severe drought, likely major crop losses possible. And as for the dark red, extreme risk, historic drought possible, widespread crop failure, and water shortages. folks, we're already seeing water shortages and drought.
But it's a serious situation. So I'll start by reiterating what they both said. This is not a drill. Please, if you're in the map area, do not use water. This is a very serious situation. It's also a health situation.
We've got water issues, water shortages already in place. So what happens when they say stay indoors because of this? Don't drink the water because of that. Then you have to deal with food shortages. We haven't really seen too much food shortages lately, but you got all these extreme weather conditions intensifying, crop failure. We've already not seen 1 million head of cattle come up from Mexico because of all of that. We've already covered it. Not only that, we've been promised that the Strait of Hormuz is going to open up to give us some more global trade.
Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to.
We promised it's going to be opened up and things are going to be reached. Now I'm hearing this. Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. Again, all ships are ordered not to approach the Strait of Hormuz until, in quotes, what you're hearing, Israel's withdrawal from Lebanon and complete lifting of the naval blockade and withdrawal of American forces from the Persian Gulf. Do you think that's going to happen? No. We're either going to see or that strait's going to stay shut. And when all crap breaks loose with a super El Nino, we're not going to have any food supply, empty shelves, food shortages, inflation, food inflation. To me, it's looking like a strong possibility. On to the next map. Highly probable if we get a super El Nino, and this is the extreme flooding risk. And like I said, folks, this type of stuff is already happening. We've got wild flooding, extreme amount of inches of rain in areas that don't normally get that much in that short of time. People are experiencing floods all over the place. Purple is extreme risk, widespread catastrophic flooding likely. Yellow is lower risk. So if you see yourself in the yellow area, probably not going to be dealing with much flooding. The orange is moderate risk, localized, not crazy. Then you get into that kind of that reddish color, high risk, major flooding likely, dangerous conditions, and then the purple is where things could go real bad. Widespread catastrophic flooding likely. Down in that bottom corner, you can see, looking back at 1877, the 1877 El Nino brought catastrophic floods to many of the same regions, destroying infrastructure, crops, and livelihoods. The NOAA warns 2026 could be stronger and faster developing. Some people thinking we may be unprepared for something like this. I've got a couple other maps I want to show you, including the wildfire zones. But a lot of people ask me where I get my freeze-dried food. Last 25 years. For an emergency, I got a link down in the description. And if you're like me and like to freeze dry your own food, I've got a link for that. You can basically make your own meals.
Wouldn't be able to afford
freeze
that.
dry anything. You can buy stuff on sale, preserve it forever. That, my friends, is a seriously smart investment. There's a lot of other preparedness stuff that I'm going to give you guys down the road. And plus, if you guys like staying aware, whether it's a food shortage, an ingredient you guys need to stay away from in foods, preparedness and awareness, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, set it to all notifications. That way, as I drop new information, you guys will be informed and more prepared. This map projects the possibility of extreme wildfire risk.
Oh,
this thing goes ham. You can see that the yellow is just elevated. The yellow areas are
So
elevated
far,
risk.
we're in the good
Orange,
out
more
here.
extreme conditions. Red, extreme risk. Widespread wildfire outbreaks likely. And then the
Let me
purple
know
and
where you
dark
guys are
areas of
watching
historic
from.
fire potential,
What
rare
state?
extreme conditions similar to 1877.
Or,
One more map
you know,
I'll show you
wherever.
that was generated. This is extreme hurricane and storm risks. You guys can see the purple is the worst. Conditions similar to what happened or worse than 1877. Red's not good. And we're talking about strong hurricanes, heavy rainfall, larger storm surges, power outages, infrastructure losses. And when this size of a storm, super El Nino, a bad El Nino hits, we're talking about global implications, global disruptions. Note on the current NOAA outlook, like I said, the more I look into this, the more probability that this could cause some serious disruptions to our normal styled life. The probability seems pretty good. And the honest truth is predictions are predictions. They're either right or they're wrong. But we do know.
Point is, guys, you got to be prepared. Yeah. I just had a thought and it just ran away. Why are you on the table? Please get off the table. Get down. Yeah, you got to be prepared. Again, I just totally lost the thought that was in my head. It's time to start growing and making a lot of stuff. Getting materials to where you can do that. Our situation, I'm just leaving it in God's hands because I don't even have a job right now, and that's in his hands too. So, yeah, you got to get prepared. Obviously, we've got some, and we're up against the El Nino / Super El Nino, but also we're up against super geoengineered weather. The sky's being sprayed all the time. Aluminum, barium, strontium. There's one or two other things. I can never remember what they are. We're up against a million different chemicals in our food. Most of them, like 99% of them, are banned in other countries because they're so toxic. And I mean, obviously, they're trying to kill us off. That whole depopulation thing. We're up against the developing world war, the data centers, which are going to suck electricity. At the very least, they're going to use the data centers to kill the power grids. So we're up against the AI that will be coming on so strong that if you're not digitally connected to the world with your own digital ID and basically mark of the beast, you can't buy or sell. Basically do anything in society. Literally Revelation 13. So it's time. It's time to get those gardens started. If you haven't, you're running out of time. There's things you can grow. Look up James Prigioni. The gardening channel with James Prigioni. Please look it up. He has every month there's things that you can start growing in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, even October. So look him up. He's great. He's amazing. His channel has a lot of knowledge. Look up More Than Farmers. You can get a lot of great knowledge from their channel, especially on gardening. Pinterest is amazing. Yeah. But get your homesteads going, get your gardens going. Get your seeds, get your seeds, get your seeds, get your seeds. And I'm saying get at least 5 years worth. At least. Roughly 5, well, yeah, about 5 years. You don't want to go more than that. Get about 5 years worth. You take the first year, get those planted, and then as it gets into fall, then you order another year. And that goes behind, you know what I mean? You're rotating them out. So always keep stocked of 5 years worth of seeds as long as possible. Learn how to save your seeds. You know, you can get over there. You're all right. You're okay. You want to go back in the living room? Come on. You don't need that. Yeah, always keep 5 years worth of seeds. Learn how to save your own seeds. Come on, honey. You want in here? There's you. You want in? Ooh. Learn how to save your own seeds. I do have that one seed saving book. It's actually called Saving Seeds. Look that up on Amazon. There's a lot of them. But get your homesteading books, get things going, and just get the ball rolling. But I'm going to have to get off from here because I have to go feed our baby. And I have to take care of the chickens. But I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to try to do... I don't know when I'm going to do another live. Hopefully this week. Or at least beginning of next. I'll try to get some videos out tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to get another one out tonight or not. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video and have a great night. Like and share the videos. Always check your subscriptions. Make sure you're still subscribed. Click on the notification bell. Click on all to make sure you get all the notifications. I will try to do some videos outside tomorrow. I still have to upload that one for Memorial Day. I will try to do that. Yeah, like and share the videos. Share them with everybody you know. Just everybody you know. And do your research. Get your homesteads and gardens going. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.